Welcome everyone to It Tastes Different Gaming Appetizers. And Ubisoft is back in the news tonight with good or bad news, depending on your outlook, right? So the embattled Ubisoft forms a subsidiary for IPs like Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six with the help of a 1.16 billion Tencent investment. So, as we all know, Ubisoft's been making some real bangers here lately, if you can't detect the sarcasm there, on the run up to the new Assassin's Creed game, which seems to be doing pretty well for them. You know, they've sold they just mentioned they passed 3 million player mark. No information on sales figures yet, but they just let us know that they hit the 3 million player mark, right? So they've been in the news a lot lately with a lot of flops for their games. They had a lot of layoffs. They closed some studios. They canceled some games, all because of their bad business practices and trying to shove NFTs down your throat or up your ass, whichever one you want. Take your pick, and all that. So Ubisoft said this new subsidiary that's valued at approximately 4.3 billion US dollars, and it's going to be based in France, will focus on building game ecosystems designed to become truly evergreen and multi-platform. Tencent's stake amounts to 25% of the company. So I guess while that's still minority, that's a huge chunk, right? Which is kind of funny that they called it evergreen, right? I don't know if that term means something different. In the IT world, that means a little something different than I guess that they're meaning that talking about what it means, but whatever. So Ubisoft added, to this whole thing that they were backed by greater investment and boosted creative capacities. It will drive further increases in quality of narrative solo experiences, expanded multiplayer offerings with increased frequency of content releases, introduce free-to-play touch points, and integrate more social features, right? Sounds more like, they want their money for doing nothing. So they're like, hey, we're just going to keep going with these games, like Rainbow Six Siege. We're just going to keep pumping out more paid for content in there, and the choice of in a microtransaction fashion, well, they're not going to make anything new, it sounds like, but the article does mention down further that any IPs that they were currently working on that may not be announced or released, which could be something new, are safe for now, right? They're not, there's no mention of any cancellations or any layoffs or anything like that yet. But, I think with Tencent doing this and getting a minority stake, they're just going to keep edging their way in to the point to where Ubisoft can't deliver and give them a return on investment. And then they're going to come in and put their thumb down, right? They're going to put their foot down. They're going to put them all under their thumb, and they're going to end up getting, a buyout or something. Watch, like some type of hostile takeover. But, they mentioned that today Ubisoft is opening a new chapter in its history, said Yves Guillemot, co-founder and CEO of Ubisoft. We accelerate the company's transformation. This is a foundational step in changing Ubisoft's operating model that will enable us to both be agile and ambitious. We are focused on building strong game ecosystem designed to become evergreen, growing high-performing brands, and creating new IPs powered by cutting-edge emerging technologies. I don't know why they couldn't do that with the current structure, but, whatever. They're going to call it a restructure. And what happens in restructures? People are going to get canned, unfortunately, because that's what happens. While the creation of a dedicated subsidiary that will spearhead development for 3 of our largest franchises and the onboarding of Tencent as a minority investor, we are crystallizing the value of our assets, strengthening our balance sheet, and creating the best conditions for these franchises' long-term growth and success. With its dedicated and autonomous leadership team, it will focus on transforming these 3 brands into unique ecosystems. Keyword, microtransactions, games as a service. We are committed to building a sharper, more focused organization, one where talented teams will take our brands to the next level, accelerate the growth of emerging franchises, and lead innovation in the next generation. I don't know. It's just a regurgitation of the same thing over and over and over without saying much, right? They're going to create superior value for our shareholders and other stakeholders, they say. So ultimately, what does this mean in reality? The new subsidiary includes teams developing the Rainbow Six, Assassin's Creed, and Far Cry franchises based in Montreal, Quebec, Sherbrooke, some of these I cannot pronounce, Saguenay, Barcelona, and Sofia, as well as Ubisoft's back catalog and any new games currently under development or to be developed. So, like I said, it sounds like the current projects are safe and there's no word on more layoffs. The transaction is expected to be completed by the end of calendar year 2025. So, we'll kind of go around and find out what these guys think about Tencent putting their claws into Ubisoft and if it's good or bad. Nick, what do you think about Tencent getting a 25% minority stake in Ubisoft and Ubisoft spinning off a new studio to manage 3 of its more popular IPs?
We talked about this before where the lawyer or the shareholder was suing because, they were Ubisoft was doing this behind their back where they were just looking around, right? They weren't making any offers or putting anything in there. They were just asking around. And then now Tencent's like, hey, here's 25%.
They're just putting in the tip.
Yeah, just putting the tip in. They let Tencent stay the night. And Tencent got a little action, just a little bit. Not all the way yet. It's first date. Can't do it on the first date. So this is Ubisoft, I think, just saying like, Ubisoft's been hurting for a while. They do have popular franchises that do well for them, being the 3 that they talked about, Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, and Rainbow Six, and pretty much everything else does not do so hot for them, right? And the Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, and Rainbow Six is kind of like Call of Duty's in the point of Activision, where these games always make money and they can pretty much rinse and repeat the same game over and over again, different settings and stuff like that, but basically the same game when you come down to it. And people will buy it, right? There's certain franchises out there that are like that. Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Rainbow Six are those games, as well as like Call of Duty, whatever Fortnite puts out or whatever. I mean, they don't have different editions of it, but whatever they put out, there's like certain franchises out there that always sell no matter what, right? And so I think what Ubisoft is trying to do here is, one, they need some cash injection from somewhere because they are losing money. And I feel like, they've been kind of teetering for a while. So there's been a lot of talks about Ubisoft selling off IPs or finding investors and stuff like that. So they have found one in Tencent. I would say it is going to be slow to start, but I think Tencent will eventually buy a majority stock in Ubisoft and basically own them. And it sounds like what they're going to end up doing is, basically just churning out Rainbow Six, Assassin's Creed, and Far Cry's like Activision churns out Call of Duties, right? I mean, basically they're going to do this whole rotation of games. Probably every year you'll get either an Assassin's Creed, a Far Cry, or a Rainbow Six, right? Or some sort of something for those franchises every single year, like a Call of Duty. So every year you're going to have this new piece of those 3 games, right? To where people will get sick and tired of playing them and don't want them anymore. I mean, it hasn't happened with Call of Duty yet, so maybe they'll work out. And they say that the current games under development are safe for now. I would say I'll put a caveat and say for now. The only one that's not safe is Beyond Good Evil 2. So sorry, Pat, but all the other ones are safe. That one got canceled a long time ago. So, but we don't know that. I was just joking. We don't know what happened to that game. It probably has been canceled, more likely. But all other projects are safe for now. I would say I'd put a caveat on that and say for now, because I don't know if current projects will. It depends on how far along in the development cycle they are. But I mean, it really goes to what they're doing this for, at the very end, about committing to this whole talented team and the brands, taking them to the next level and all this stuff. And at the very end, creating superior value for our shareholders and other stakeholders. And that's really what Ubisoft is they don't give a crap about the people buying the product. They just care about the investors, the stakeholders, the people, the shareholders of the company. And they want to do whatever they can to make sure that their investment is, their return on their investment is as high as possible. And, their returns aren't diminishing every year. They're just getting more and more profit every year. So if that means we just need to refocus on the 3 franchises that are popular for us and just, push those out like, whatever every single year, then that's what we'll do. And so I think that's the direction they're headed, right? So I don't know. I don't. Ubisoft's been pretty bad for a while, and we if anybody's not new to our channel, that Ubisoft, we like a lot of their stuff as far as their franchise, as far as their IPs go, but the games they churn out seem to be just the same old same. So we would really like to see Ubisoft go in a different direction of really broadening their horizons. I think the Prince of Persia reboot that they did was really good, and that was expanding out to something they typically don't do. And Ubisoft saw that and said, "Oh, we can't have that," and then got rid of them all. And that was a really good game. I personally hadn't really liked a Ubisoft game in such a long time, and I loved that Prince of Persia game. I thought it was really freaking good. And Ubisoft said, no, we can't have that. So yeah, it sounds like they're just going to basically focus on those 3. And that's pretty much about it, and see where that takes them, I guess. So I don't know. What do you think, Shane?
Oh, I think every bit of that was just a bunch of gobbledygook bullshit to please investors and try to hide the fact that they keep doing the stupidest crap and they're running low on funds, plain and simple. I think anybody that goes to Tencent for money, you might as well kiss your shit goodbye. Pardon my language, but it's just a fact. They raw dog everybody. They buy up. There is no trial and error. It's one and done. That's it. If you don't sell up 10 billion copies, you're gone. You're toast. You're frog butter, buddy. Just get over it and pack your crap. And that's Tencent is the worst group of people for the gaming industry. I've not seen any good experiences with them for developers. I know they have some really good solid IPs and they buy them up, but when an IP fails to hit whatever their estimated goal is, they're gone. I mean, they don't try to retain. So that's what bothers me about the whole thing. And Nick's right. It's going to be those 3, only those 3. And they might try something else at some point. If they can hit succession, if they could succeed with those 3, they could be like, all right, maybe we're on a roll. Let's try doing something else a little bit. Maybe Beyond Good and Evil. Just kidding. But they will they will focus on the worst parts of the gaming industry, which is just how to milk a product. That's it. Fortnite does it, but they do it in a way that people are still happy to play the game. Ubisoft does it and they take away what makes people happy. That's the problem with Ubisoft. It's the same decision they've been doing over and over and over again for years now. They want to show, they want to take whatever fancy tech thing is going on now and shove it into a game and try to milk off of it. That's not what people want. People want Beyond Good and Evil 2. People want a new Splinter Cell. People want just what made them good to begin with. And they're not doing it. And they're steadfast on continuing what's failing. Rainbow Six Siege is a great game for what it is. It really is. It's fun. It's fast paced. It's engaging with others. It's really a great game for what it is. Our little group played the living crap out of it. Because we just enjoyed playing together and what you could do in the game. but that's really about the last thing they put out that we have really played the living crap out of, as far as in that realm of gaming. But Nick is right. Prince of Persia the last one was fantastic, surprisingly fantastic. So it's Ubisoft, so you go into every game they put out going, oh shit. Avatar, the Avatar game, that was Ubisoft, right? It felt Ubisoft, it smelt Ubisoft, so that's why it failed. I mean, they had some ideals and concepts and things like that, but they still Ubisoft it, in my opinion. Big giant map, lots of tiny things to find. Content really wasn't there. I mean, it was story really wasn't there to guide you along very well. It's just another problem I have with Ubisoft games. It's all right, what can we do to make this game 50, 60, 70 hours? Make the map bigger, throw crap on the ground, shove it in hidey holes, let them find it. We have 2 hours of dialogue. I'm exaggerating a bit, but not much. So I don't see Zelda and Tencent or Ubisoft. I got Zelda on the brain. I don't see Ubisoft and Tencent remaining partners. Somebody's going to turn into a power bottom in this relationship. And unfortunately, we're going to see a lot of IPs die from it, in my opinion. It's just my opinion, though. So, what about you, Pat? Do you think, who do you think is going to be the power bottom?
Well, Tencent's going to be on top. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Tencent's gotten a bad rap over the years, right? I mean,
rightfully so, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, they are by far one of the largest multimedia gaming companies out there, right? They do everything from publish to make to, everything. They pretty much all games in China go through them, right? So they're very big on microtransactions. So they try to push and shove that stuff in. A lot of their stuff they push, especially their mobile games, are like pay to win games. They're very big on that kind of stuff, microtransactions. And I haven't heard anything recently in the recent years, but I remember back when I was younger that they were they were in trouble for copying games, and at one point they found was he founder, I think, that Ma guy, they called him the plagiarism king or something like that back in the day, because he was copying people's popular games and putting it. So and they've had a lot of legal battles and data security concerns. I mean, our own government looked into them because of data privacy concerns and stuff. Because, I mean, they're essentially a Chinese-owned company, and, we're not on the best of terms with them. But at the same time, most companies that are over there they have a lot of government ties and control, right? So it's, they reskin stuff, they copy stuff, they fill everything with microtransactions, and that's what they're going to do to the Ubisoft franchise. I mean, when you think about it, the only real microtransaction game that is popular on the Ubisoft side is Rainbow Six, right? And it's not that big of a microtransaction. I mean, they do have some skill ups and power ups that you can buy, but you could essentially buy the year one pass and get all of the operatives, right? So, that was not too bad. Or you can play and unlock some stuff, but it takes a long time just playing and unlocking it. But I think that with Tencent coming in and they investing that much money, I wonder how much control they're going to have over that IP, that new franchise, not a new IP, but that new studio, operating under their own guys studio that they spun off. I think Tencent's going to have a lot more shot calling in those. We're going to see a lot more microtransactions in those 3 games. And 2 of those 3 games is single player games. So that is one of my biggest pet peeves, is microtransactions and garbage like that in a single player game that you pay full price for. I mean, I don't expect to get Assassin's Creed and then start getting hit with skins for an Assassin's Creed game, which is what a lot of these single player games are doing. I'm like, freaking gag a maggot. I'm so tired of that, I have not bought the new Assassin's Creed game, and I don't plan to till it goes on sale, because Ubisoft's track record. And this is just another reason. This might be the last great Ubisoft game for Assassin's Creed anyway, because of this. As long as, if Tencent keeps their fingers out of it and the Gilmont family can get their shit straight and stop chasing NFTs and the fast cash and get back to their roots with great single player storytelling games. And their multiplayer games like Rainbow Six are great games. Keep doing that. Explore new IPs, new ideas, but stop trying to make everything Fortnite. Stop trying to get some of that Fortnite money. Make your own shit. Make your own ideas. But I think with Tencent getting involved, we're going to see a lot more microtransactions in their stuff. And whatever the next big NFT thing is, they're going to be freaking balls deep in it. Ubisoft doesn't do anything lightly. Once they hit ball level, they're just going to go right in over their head, and then it's going to flop. Because gamers, we've mentioned this before, gamers are fickle. Gamers are a little loud. And a lot of times you'll find that gamers are insensitive and tone deaf, because they don't like something. They latch on to one little thing and they don't like it. And sometimes it's good, right? The NFT thing, when gamers latched onto that and pretty much like flushed that shit down the toilet, that was a great thing. It tried to stick in gaming and it didn't. But I wish gamers were more apt to stuff like that with microtransactions and loot boxes, because we don't need those in games. And if they stop buying games with that in there and basically voice those concerns, we wouldn't have it. But it's a big moneymaker for them. They see that all they got to do is put out this game. Rainbow Six Siege is a perfect example of that. And all we're doing is adding operators that their abilities are just, at this point, some of the abilities overlap, I feel, over the operatives. And then occasionally they'll sprinkle in some new maps, right? That's minimal effort, maximum profit. Because they've already got the base game. They don't got to do anything. They just got to add new operatives. Maybe add a couple new maps a year, whatever, because they don't usually add a whole lot of new maps, but try to find a new gameplay modes if they can. If not, whatever. Could we come back to Rainbow Six Siege every now and then? But I think it's probably been a good year since we jumped back into that game. I can't remember the last time we played it.
It might even be longer than that. But
maybe you think, but yeah, I mean, we hop back into games like that occasionally. But so I think that this probably could have disastrous consequences for Ubisoft, especially if the Guillemot family loses control and Tencent gains more control, because Tencent's going to encourage more ways to make money at the expense of the gamer, more so than Ubisoft has already tried to do with NFTs and garbage like that.
Yeah. Ubisoft doesn't have a gag reflex, so
no, they just keep going. They go all the way.
All the way.
Next thing you know, they're passed out on the floor. Can't breathe. So
and then they get up and ready to go again.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. Except for when they do it, they lose money. So I don't know. I see this as a bad thing for them. But at the same time, they were kind of swirling the bowl a little bit. They were a massively large company. I didn't think they're not going under anytime soon in this, but they were hemorrhaging some money and they needed a little infusion of cash, and now they've got it. But now they've got a 25% minority owner stake in the company that they need to answer to. That's going to come calling for their money back soon. So they're going to expect that. I would say if Ubisoft's not producing in 2026 and 2027, Tencent's going to increase their holdings until they have full control. And then the Guillemot family is SOL.
I don't think it matters how well they do. I think that's what they're going to go for, especially if they do well.
I mean, Tencent has holdings in a lot of companies and they stay there. They stay in their lane as long as that company is making them money. That's all they care about, right?
That's true.
As long as Ubisoft makes them money, they'll be fine. But Ubisoft's got a bad track record the last few years.
Yep.
And obviously they're not making Beyond Good and Evil 2, so they have a really bad track record. So
did you finally come to grips with that?
No, it's not canceled yet.
You've been in denial for
it's not canceled yet.
That thing is so canceled.
It's not canceled yet.
That thing is canceled quicker than making fun of somebody with a disability on live TV. That thing is canceled the shit out of.
It's not. It's still live. It's still live in the background. So
it's on life support, but it's still. They haven't unplugged the instruments yet, so
it's holding its family's hand, saying goodbye, but it's not there yet.
Yeah, it's going to get a transplant, and it's going to be alive.
They're just waiting for the donor. They're on the list. They're just waiting for the donor.
They're on the list.
Yep. It's still kicking about. It's just waiting for that donor list to pop, waiting to get jumped up on number one on the donor list. So 17 years counting. Yep. 17 years since the last one. So we're still going. So you leave my damn game alone. All right. You guys got anything else before we show that Shane got no gag reflex as well?
I do. Okay. I trained hard. Ask Father Pete.
All right. Well, let's know what you think down in the comments. Do you agree with us, or do you agree that Tencent is bad for Ubisoft, or do you think this is a good thing for them? What do you think down in the comments? And if you've not subscribed to our channel, or why not, reach the end of the video. If you've not liked the channel, like the videos, like it now, subscribe, hit that bell to get notified when we post new videos, because we post new videos quite frequently. And we hope you enjoyed this episode and hope to catch you in the next one.
See ya.